Titans Beast World Tour Metropolis issue 1. Various creators. We'll talk about who's on what story, because there's 3 stories in this as we go through it. And the last time we had some kind of event, it was the Lazarus Reign stuff, right? That was or Lazarus Rising was the name of it. No, it was the Nightmare stuff with Insomnia.
Yeah, there was that, but like because Night Terrors kind of took a break, right? It wasn't like this, where I feel like these are where we're going to get a lot of the Beast World stuff that's not Titans and Nightwing.
Oh, sure.
The main
but,
story.
No, but the reason why I'm bringing that up, though, is because I was absolutely... Do I swear? I was absolutely miserable reading all of those Night Terrors tie-in books. I didn't even like the main story of Night Terrors, ultimately, after a couple issues. But the tie-ins it was painful getting through them. And I think, by contrast, I really liked Beast World issue 1. I thought it's one of the best event issue 1s we've had in a long time. I was super into it. I'm looking forward to issue 2. I'm looking forward to the next Titans issue. This tie-in issue was a chore. It was pointless. I cannot fathom why anyone should want to read it. I have little recommendation to give.
I have one. We get a fun Bibbo story.
I knew you were going to defend the Bibbo story, but it's just nothing. But it's fluff. There's nothing.
It's a nothing. Yeah, it's a nothing story that could have been a backup somewhere else, like But
also, Matt, can I just point out here as well? There's 3 stories in this, right? The first one at one point has an editor's note that says this takes place after Titans Beast World issue 2, and I thought to myself, that's strange, but okay. Then I got to the second story. There's an editor's note. This takes place after Titans Beast World issue 3. 3? 3, motherfucker? What?
There's a swear. Swear jar.
And then the third story also says after issue 2. So I'm like, we're getting this tie-in after issue 1, and all 3 stories take place after at least issue 2, and one of them takes place after 3. Like, this is nonsense. Why do it this way? Not that it seems to matter, because nothing in the story. Because I was worried it was going to spoil something, and it didn't. I don't think.
No.
But
no, although it just why not wait until after those to drop this? Why now?
Oh,
because I could get Waller. The Waller one can happen. Like, we'll talk about that one when we get there. That's almost like a side quest to Beast World. This, though, because it's characters and the spores but also none of the spores, there's no consistency with how they react to people from story to story. So that was weird.
Yeah.
You think editorial would try to line them up to, hey, this is what's going on in the main story. Let's try to keep it into that.
This feels so tacked on to what's actually happening in the main story. It's just an excuse to sell some extra one-shots with stories that have nothing of merit. They don't even feel like they're following the actual rules that the main story set up. So the first story, called Primal Pain, is by Nicole Maines and Steve Orlando. Now, Steve Orlando is a writer that I have a history of not liking very much. So that put me in a bit of a funk as soon as I saw the name.
Yeah. And Nicole Maines being there means we're getting Dreamer.
Yeah, that's all that means. It means we're getting a Dreamer, which is fine. I don't necessarily mind Dreamer, but
so the one thing I do mind about Dreamer is how do their powers work? There's no clarity, and I feel like I've read every Dreamer appearance because of reading these tie-ins. And that episode, this story was so confusing with the stuff that was going on. Like, at a certain point, I went into autopilot.
Here's the thing. I actually don't mind the premise of how this starts, right? The whole idea being is that ever since Lazarus Reign fell on her, her powers have been acting weird, where she doesn't have to actually go to sleep to get dreams anymore. She's just seeing visions of the future, sometimes just seconds before they happen. And that sort of is set up with her. She's having coffee with a friend, and that's all like being set up. And then there's fires around the city, but they're not really there. So Dreamer suits up and he's like, "Okay, I have to stop. I have to protect this neighborhood before all the fires start." And that's the story of the thing. But from there, it did start to get a little bit, I don't know, just kind of wonky, like keeping track of when we were seeing something that was in the future and something that's happening right now. Because once John shows up and Dreamer's saying, "Hey, John, this is going to happen. We need to evacuate." from there, it kind of became a bit of a jumble. And honestly, at this point, I was thinking, what does this have to do with Beast World? That was my thought, like halfway through the story. And then it does tie in loosely because Livewire shows up in an animal form, and I'm like, okay, all right, so there's someone who's been infected with a Beast Boy starfish. Okay, there you go, or spores. They keep saying, yeah. So, yeah, we get them fighting Monster Livewire, which is fine. There's several pages of action. I found the art to be a little on the messy side, particularly with the layouts. I didn't think the layouts flowed very well. And it all just kind of builds up to the cliffhanger, which is Amanda Waller seeing Dreamer on like social media and going, aha, found you. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked Fico Osio when he was doing Hawkman. That art, it was very good. It matched the kind of epicness of that run that Vanity did. Here, though, it just, like you said, it was jumbled, and the layouts were kind of messy and very chaotic, and not in a good way. Not like it was meant to make us feel like, caught up in all this action and kind of lost. And it made it for a hard read. That's right. At a certain point, I went to autopilot and just started kind of skimming.
I get that, yeah. Yeah, it says at the end, Dreamer will return against Amanda Waller in Action Comics 1060, and I'm like, are you threatening me, comic book? Because this sounds like a threat.
Yeah. Again, I don't mind Dreamer. I just, once Dreamer starts going through the dream world stuff, like, I just want some clarity, because I could see why Waller would see a benefit in Dreamer, right? You have kind of a precog at this point.
I don't mind Dreamer as a concept, but all of the stories we've had of Dreamer recently, these little backups or tie-in issues or whatever they've been, haven't really done that much for me. They've just been fine. With this one specifically, though, like the fact that they're teasing a continuation of this in some form, that's not even related to Beast World, it's just something that's coming in a backup later down the line. I'm like, well, I know what backup I'm not reading.
Well, we'll get to that in the third story too, because I felt like the first one and the third one both have kind of tacked on Beast World elements, but they're just meant to serve whatever's coming next, and that's not a good, I don't think, for something like this where you're trying to tie into this event and give these other characters story points in it to make it feel like part of a bigger universe. I don't think that helps out. I think it hinders.
No, I like, honestly, this is just a waste of money, frankly. The only people that I would say should even consider wanting to actually get this would be if, like, Dreamer's your favorite character and you just have to consume every time something changes in Dreamer's story, because it does set up this power thing that's changing with her. Yeah. So I guess that if you really, really, really care about that, then that's something. But that's really the only thing I can say about it, because then we go into the second story, which is your Bibble story, which is Dan Jurgens. Yeah, with Anthony Marquez on the art. So it's a lot more cartoony, and this story is about how Jimmy's turned into a giant turtle as part of Beast World's ongoing shenanigans.
And I get it, because Jimmy's been the Turtle Boy, the Kirby stories. We get it.
Yeah. Here's my thing, though. Do you think any other characters, especially civilians, when they get infected by the Beast Boy's spores, do you think they're going to become kaiju-sized, other than this?
So far, no, because Livewire, right? Livewire was kind of like a snake, right?
She was more of a bird, I would say. She had wings.
More of a bird? Okay.
I think she did. Then I'm going back now. You're making me question myself.
Yeah. Because I could say, like, that makes sense, kind of like this,
Oh no, okay. No wings,
Yeah.
more of a lizard, but she's got arms and claws. So
arms and claws. Okay, yeah. So reptilian then, which I could see the electricity and the flowiness with that type of thing. But yeah, I get it. Jimmy the Turtle Boy. I just was like kind of bummed out that that's the route that we're going, because it's not very imaginative.
I mean, I don't mind him turn into a turtle. I just don't understand why he's
giant.
Why he's 100 foot tall.
Right, and that's what I mean by the Turtle Boy. That's the Jimmy Olsen thing, as he's a giant turtle, not just if he was just like a Ninja Turtle sized guy running around and Bobo had to wrestle him to the ground. I think I'm going to enjoy the story even more. And I like kaiju stuff, but
it's just
street level would have been fine.
Yeah, it feels like, oh, this is a cute story we thought as a backup for one of these tie-ins, but that's all it is. It's just a cute backup. I don't really find as much here to really enjoy. And I feel like you probably got a kick out of the scientist showing up with the Newsboy Legion's hover car.
So it was Dr. Emil Hamilton and stuff. So, like, again, it's Jurgens doing his Superman stuff. We all know Jurgens has an affection for Superman, and you can feel it throughout. And it did feel like this is tied to Beast World more than the first story, just because of Jimmy as the turtle. But again, this just could have been. It could have not been a spore. It could have been Darkseid or some apocalyptic thing that turned Jimmy, and the story still would have worked. You still have Dr. Hamilton coming with the Newsboy car that looks like the Fantastic Four car. You still have Bibbo, trying to, maintain, his respect for Superman through the city.
The only thing that would change is that Power Girl shows up at one point and she's like a griffin or something.
Yeah, something like a firebird, like a flame bird, which is weird because that's not really her gimmick, but all right, I'm not going to complain.
I don't know. It just, like, if this had been a backup in a regular book, I probably wouldn't have read it. I'd have taken one look at the first page and went, nah, I'm good. But because like this is a tie-in and the whole point is to read the tie-ins, I just kind of feel like I had to. And I'm like, I'm not into this at all. I will say this. When we get to the third story, I did enjoy the art in the third story. The art does take a big leap up. Edwin Salmon, or no, Gammon, not Salmon.
Gallman.
Salmon. But yeah, and this is let me read in here. So it's Joshua Williamson's writing along with Zipporah Smith. The font was quite small. I had to lead in like an old man. Because it's a 2-page spread, so the text is really shrunk down on this window. But this is Lois sort of manning the fort at the Fortress of Solitude, talking to Superman and Kal-X and getting a lay of the land, and a bunch of monster people, or animal people, maybe a better way of putting it, are outside the fortress and are coming. So Lois and Kal-X have to sort of stand guard. Superman zooms in, and I enjoyed this the most out of the 3 stories, probably just because of the art. The only thing really of consequence that happens is that a bunch of the starfish go for Superman, a bunch of the Beast Boy starfish, and he's able to fight them off, but Lois is like, hey, that's really dangerous even putting yourself in that position. If they take you over, then that's kind of a big problem. But as you said, this is really just like it's almost inconsequential that the Beast World stuff's happening, because all it's really about is the fact that something deterred these starfish, right? Like, he's like, hey, that's weird. They just kind of gave up or whatever. And we find out in the last page that it's because Brainiac had put some sort of little device on him, a little chip or something.
Like a nano type thing.
And he doesn't want Superman to be taken over because he's got plans for Superman and his Action Comics story next year. And that's all it is. So okay.
Yeah. Just the logic of the story too is the Fortress of Solitude is meant to be near the Arctic Circle, right? And that's pretty remote. That's why it's there. It's the Fortress of Solitude. Where the hell did all these people come from? And I know you could say beast creatures, right? But that's covering a lot of ground, and well, this is after issue 2, huh?
It does say after issue 2, so maybe there's more context for this that we don't know yet.
Maybe there's more context to stuff there. But I was going to say, there's not a lot of people storming the Fortress of Solitude. That was my one. But yeah, the art was pretty good.
They all turned into fish creatures so they could swim. That's
fine.
That's the only
thing. Or if they're birds and they flew there,
or
because
birds,
it is they're drawn to Superman and the fortress, because the fortress has this energy component to it, right? But yeah, and then Brainiac shows up and the zap of that, and because I got concerned when I saw the Brainiac stuff, the 3 dots on Clark's head, and I was like, that's interesting. What's that about? And then it almost zaps like a like an internal, like when Batman, when someone tries to go for his mask,
Yeah, yeah.
right, and he's knocked out and it electrifies him. That's like what it does to these spores. And I thought, okay, that was interesting. That's and then you see Brainiac looking.
Yeah,
So
I think the problem is though is that you can boil this all down to that's the only thing that's important in the whole story is that Brainiac chipped him with something to protect him because Brainiac's got plans. So here's a teaser for the Joshua Williamson Superman action crossover that's coming in spring. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but it just kind of feels a bit hollow.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
that's a shame.
So some Lois stuff for reacting to the Beast and to Superman, which I do like her having to remind him like, hey, if you go down, that's another piece that we have to fight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the art. I mean, that's I can say that for it at least.
Yeah.
There's some pretty visuals in there. Yeah, I guess that's it. I suppose maybe I will say Lois looks slightly Asian in this art. It's the only critique I can maybe give it.
Let me look.
it reminded
I
me.
read this early in the week.
It reminded me of how artists will draw, say, Linda in Wally's stories.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting those kind of vibes, but it's Lois. It's not a big deal. Just a minor.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, especially on the page. It's got all the yellow and Superman's flying towards
over the water.
The right.
Yeah.
I could see how you're saying that. Yeah, she doesn't like it's vaguely Lois Lane.
Yeah, but I think it sticks out especially when she's in the same panel as Superman because he just looks like Superman. He looks normal.
Yeah,
and she looks like, for whatever reason, she looks like she's Asian, which is not a big deal except for the fact that she just isn't. But
that's not Lois. Right?
So I don't know what the. The art is very pleasing to look at, though, despite like maybe that little nitpick of someone looking slightly incorrect. But hey,
yeah. Oh God, who's the artist? It's very reminiscent of Lionel Yu.
I can see that.
Here.
I can see that comparison.
Yeah. It's got the way that the shading and the color works together and very clean lines throughout. But yeah, no, the art was the standout. This art on this story was the standout of this issue. That was otherwise, I was like, oh man, why did I read this? I mean, I know why, but like, definitely, I was like, I just wasted my break reading this at work. Cool.
It was that thing as well. I was starting to read my books, and I was like, oh, I've got 4 regular books, but I've got the 2 Beast World like tie-ins, and I'm like, okay, so I'll start with those. And then I started reading this and I went, oh yeah, it's like a 40-50 page anthology style issue. Okay, well, I guess I'm glad I'm getting this out of the way first then. And then it just proceeded to be something that I didn't like for almost the entire thing. So, it was a real shitty way to start the week for the comics. I will say that. So, hey, there you go. That's World Tour Metropolis. Hey,
World Tour canceled.
The one upside to this is that maybe this is the bottom of the barrel, and that the rest of them
we can only go up from here, maybe.
But before we get to the next one, what are you rating World Tour Metropolis?
So, because I enjoyed the second story a little bit more than you because of the Bibbo factor, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10.
I can understand and respect it, but I'm giving it a 3.
There you go.
That's how I felt about this issue.